And now for our feature presentation.
Yeah. See now, I was reminiscing on some shit.
No, I am the nicest ever.
Yeah, just in case you niggas wasn't really understanding what was going on. It's bust a bust, nigga. Mick Boogie. Check it. Let's go. Since I was a youngin', I would walk.
What's going on, peeps? Julian Williams here with The Distance. Got a video for you guys. This is on Canelo fighting Sugar Shane Mosley. I'm about 4 days late on this video, but it's overall. A lot of people have had their opinion on it. I'm just going to give my own 2 cents on it. So what's going to be scheduled for the May 5th undercard of Mayweather versus Cotto is going to be Canelo versus Shane Mosley. And there's been a lot of criticism, regarding this fight. But really, I think the fight that deserves more criticism is probably going to be the Peter Quillin versus Winky Wright. Being that Winky Wright, of course, more likely could be a future Hall of Famer. To me, I think he's a future Hall of Famer. But the fact of the matter is this: by the time of May 5th of this year, Winky Wright is going to have been out of the ring for about 3 years. He hasn't fought since April 24 of 2009 against Paul Williams in a fight to where he just single-handedly just lost. So now, he's going to be facing Peter Quillin, and he hasn't been in the ring in 3 years. And believe it or not, he's pulled out of fights with Grady Brewer. He's pulled out of the fight with Matthew Macklin last year. And he pulled out, and he tried to sign the Top Rank in 2010. And he just hasn't had a chance to get a fight, in the last couple of years. And now he's 40 years old and hadn't been in the ring in 3 years. That's the fight I think that a lot of people should be critical of. But then again, Peter Quillin doesn't hold a belt. On the other hand, Canelo Alvarez holds a belt. And, of course, he hasn't really faced the best competition over the last year or so. Ryan Rose he was all right. Ryan Rose was all right. But also, he was a contender like 2 or 3 years ago. And definitely had an amazing fight with Jamie Moore back in 2009. But that fight really didn't do much for Alvarez. It was a one-sided fight. Then he fought Alfonso Gomez. Alfonso Gomez, he came in a fight that he could have been losing, and didn't look too good against him. And he got the knockout win, kind of late, but it was an early stoppage. Then he fought Kermit Cintron. Against Kermit Cintron, he came in, he stopped him in the 5th round. But now he's fighting Shane Mosley. And Shane Mosley is coming off of 3 straight disappointing performances against Floyd Mayweather, Sergio Mora, and Manny Pacquiao. And of course, many speculate whether or not the Pacquiao fight was fixed or not. Mosley just has not looked good since his Margarito fight January 24 of 09. He's 40 years old now too, and and he's been inactive over the last year or so. But I think that if you hold a belt, I think that you should be facing the best opposition possible. But also in this case, I think what Golden Boy is trying to do is they're trying to put, now they're trying to put a future Hall of Famer on Alvarez's resume now to kind of lead to a big fight with Floyd Mayweather or somebody else down the line, possibly even Miguel Cotto. Either one of these guys. I think Golden Boy is trying to get him a Hall of Famer on his resume before he gets a big fight. But I think that he definitely needs to be tested by somebody, by a young, hungry fighter, or unify some belts before he's in a situation where he's fighting the Mayweather or fighting the Cotto. And that's only my opinion. But overall, of course, if he fights Mosley and he stops Mosley, then he's done something that Pacquiao and Mayweather hasn't done, and it rises his stock a lot more. Despite the fact that Mosley is 40 years old, that rises his stock a lot, because he did something that Mayweather and Pacquiao and Vernon Forrest and Winky Wright were unable to do. He came in and he stopped Shane Mosley, and even though it's an old Shane Mosley, it is what it is. But just overall, in terms of this fight, I don't like the fight. And it's only my opinion. I don't like the fight. I think that there's better opponents out there for him. I think, because Mosley, I just never put much stock into Mosley at 154. Especially at this time in his career, being that he's 40 years old. I still don't put much stock in him at 154 compared to 147. But and also, like I said, there's other opponents out there for him. There's Marosian, who had been his mandatory. There's James Kirkland, of course, and Golden Boy sure as hell is not going to put him in there with James Kirkland, but I think it's a fight that's bound to happen sometime in the next 2 or 3 years if they both continue to win. There's Cornelius K9 Bunridge, the IBF champion. There's Zinzurk, who's had exposure on HBO. There's fights out there for him. Arislan Dilar, who's also a Golden Boy fighter. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of fights out there for him, and even Victor Ortiz is a good fight at 154 someday. But as far as the Mosley fight is concerned, this is a test because I think that Mosley, of course, his back is going to be against the wall in this fight. The reason his back is going to be against the wall is because he had 3 bad performances, and this is his last chance. And a man whose back is against the wall is going to perform very desperately from time to time. Either that or he's getting paid, one of the two. So we'll see. If Alvarez stops him, that raises his stock. If he doesn't, it's a Hall of Famer on his resume. So let me know what you guys think. I'm out of here. That's the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.
You thought I didn't see you now, didn't you? You tried to sneak by me now, didn't you?